She works and the cows will have to give up their grass for her, Bess.
Look at that dress.
The plump girl in the dark green dress keeps her eyes down. Fingers knot the hem. Dust tastes like salt on her tongue. She answers no one. The hiring ground behind the livery heaves and sways. Men and women crowd the hard dirt, hats lifted, hands waving, voices stacked on voices. A wheel creaks. A mule balks. Coffee burns in a tin pot on a crate. Someone calls out day wages. Someone else hawks second-hand boots. Hope thins in the heat. She stands at the far edge, back straight by will alone. When a boy lobs a pebble, it taps her skirt and drops. She does not look up. Bread and a roof, she thinks. Anything honest. She has cooked for boarders before. Counted slices so no one fought. Kept a chalk tally for a sour-faced landlady. She can do it again if someone lets her try. The noise shifts. Heads turn. A rider comes from the street, a tall man on a black horse, coat of worn leather, hat brim shadowing a sunburned face. He does not shout for help. He looks. That is worse. The crowd surges anyway. Hands grab at his stirrup. Voices pitch high, men and women both. I'll mend fence. I keep a clean bunkhouse. Hire me, sir. The yard turns to storm. She is shoved back and nearly falls. Her cloth bag slides from her shoulder and she catches it by the strap. When she lifts her head, the man is watching her through the crush. Not pity, not disgust, a steady kind of notice. As if in a room of noise he has found the one quiet thing. He edges the horse closer. You cook? Not a question. I can, she says. Voice thin, steady anyway. I worked a boarding kitchen. I can keep a ledger if you want rations counted. I only need a place to sleep and fair pay. His eyes change in a small way. Fair is the only kind, he says. Name. Martha. Martha Dunn. I'm Ethan Rowe, he says. Creek Bend north of town. Work is honest. Not light. I'm not light either, she says, and almost smiles. It dies quick, but it was there. Someone laughs behind her. Someone else says she'll eat a pantry bear. Martha keeps her eyes on Ethan's reins. He nudges the horse, makes a space in the press with the animal's shoulder, and reaches down a hand. She takes it and steps clear of the tangle. They walk, not fast, through the jeers that keep trying to hook under her skin. She does not look back. He does not either. At the end of the yard, he says, You ride? If the horse is patient. Mine is, he says. And if he isn't, I am. Wind lifts the dust. The town falls behind one roof at a time. Martha counts her breaths and the boards of the saddle and the small new thing rising under her ribs. Not hope. Not yet. Just the feeling that this time she was seen for the work she can do, not for the space she takes. The road out of Red Willow stretches long and flat, lined with grass burned yellow by wind. Martha keeps both hands tight on the saddle horn, legs stiff from the ride. Ethan Rowe rides ahead in silence, speaking only when the ranch comes into view, a scatter of low roofs, a creek flashing pale light, fences drawn like scars across the land. By the time they arrive, her body aches from the saddle. A dog barks once, then sniffs her boots and settles. 2 ranch hands glance over, one nods, the other goes back to the water trough. A woman steps from the cookhouse, apron dusted with flour. You're early, Mr. Rowe. Found help, he says. This is Martha Dunn. The woman smiles, the sort that leaves room for judgment later. Eliza. Cook here. Martha dips her head, glad to lend a hand. Eliza eyes her for a moment, then gestures inside. We'll see about that. The kitchen is warm and cluttered, smelling of beans and soap. Eliza moves quick, half talking, half working. Dishes there, knives on the wall, bread before sunrise. Martha listens, nodding, and starts where she's told. She has done harder work in worse rooms. At a boarding house once, she cooked for 12 men and balanced the books when the landlady couldn't count straight. That memory steadies her. Ethan eats with the men under a cottonwood. His talk is spare, practical, fence repairs, missing cattle. Martha watches from the doorway, carrying a pot of coffee. When he thanks her, the words sound genuine, not polite. She feels them more than she understands them. Days roll into weeks. Her back stays sore, her hands roughen, but the rhythm of the ranch becomes her own. She hums while she works, quiet enough not to bother anyone. Eliza, once wary, starts to rest her feet more often, letting Martha handle the midday meal. You've got a knack for this, Eliza says. I just like order, Martha answers, smiling. Order's half of peace, Eliza replies. Some evenings, when the chores are done, Ethan checks the storeroom and lingers by the door. We'll need flour before the next supply wagon, he says once. Prices go up after harvest. Martha thinks, then answers softly, buy in bulk now. It'll save near $1 a sack. He studies her. You sure? I used to buy for a boarding house, she explains. Numbers stick if you let them. He nods, slow, as if testing the idea of trusting her judgment. The men warm to her in time, not in a rush. A jar of honey appears on the windowsill one morning. No note, no words, just a quiet sign she's accepted. Still, not everyone welcomes her. Lydia, a younger ranch hand, sharp-tongued and restless, mutters loud enough to be heard. Nice how the boss listens to the kitchen girl. Martha pretends not to hear. She has learned the weight of silence and how it wins more often than anger. One night, a cold wind sweeps through. The stove flickers low, and Ethan steps in carrying his coat. You'll freeze in here, he says. He drapes the coat across her shoulders before she can refuse. The smell of leather and rain lingers. Thank you, she says. He nods once. You've done good work, Martha. She looks into the fire instead of his face. It's just work. Maybe, he says, but not everyone does it this well. When he leaves, she stands a while longer, staring at the door. For the first time in a long time, warmth feels like more than fire. By mid-autumn, the air smells of cold iron and wheat dust. The creek thins, and frost traces white veins along the fence rails. Martha wakes earlier now, her breath fogging the kitchen lamp, her fingers stiff until the stove warms. Life at the ranch has settled into the kind of order she loves, steady, known, quiet. Yet every day leaves her wanting to make it work a little smoother. One morning she finds a page of numbers pinned under a coffee tin, Ethan's scrawl, the month's rations. 2 lines don't add up. She studies them while the kettle hums, pencil tapping her chin. Eliza walks in and catches her. Don't mind that mess, the older woman says. He hates keeping books. 7s, Martha smiles. So did the woman who ran the boarding house I worked for. I learned quick, or we all went hungry. Eliza laughs. Then you might be the one to straighten him out. Later, when the men head to the fields, Martha finds Ethan outside the storeroom. You're short on coffee, she says. He raises a brow. Didn't count on you keeping tally. I did, she answers. The numbers were off, and prices in town just jumped. You'll lose coin if you wait. He scratches his chin. Show me. Inside, she lays out the sheets and runs through the sums. Her tone is calm, careful. She isn't telling him what to do, only showing what she sees. When she finishes, Ethan looks down at the paper, then at her. All this from a kitchen table? She nods. Old habits. He folds the sheet and says simply, "Keep the ledger from now on. You've got the head for it." The change is small, but it ripples through the ranch. Tools find their places, meals waste less, the men quit grumbling about short rations. Even Lydia, who once muttered loud enough to sting, falls quiet. For a while. One afternoon, Lydia slams a milk pail onto the counter, sloshing cream across Martha's apron. "You think you run this place now?" Martha wipes the spill, calm as still water. "No, I just write down what's true." "That's worse," Lydia spits. "Truth gets people in trouble." Martha looks at her, not angry, just tired. "Only when they lie first." Lydia storms out, boots striking the floor like hammers. Eliza exhales a long breath. "You handled that right," she says. "But mind her. She's young and proud. Pride burns hotter than a stove when it's cornered." That evening, Ethan checks the inventory again. "You've cut costs by near a third," he says. Martha shrugs. "Just paying attention?" He studies her for a moment, then says, "Most folks don't." When he leaves, she adds a line to her ledger. Flour, salt, and patience, each worth more than they cost. She closes the book, listens to the quiet around her, and realizes that somewhere between the counting and the cooking, she has begun to belong. Winter creeps in quiet and sharp. The mornings crack with frost, and the air smells of smoke. Work slows but never stops. Martha keeps the kitchen warm, the coffee hot, the ledger neat. The ranch runs smooth, too smooth for some. Lydia's eyes follow her everywhere, bright with something between jealousy and hunger. It begins small. Whispers over supper. A spoon left dirty. A tally mark changed by half a pound. The sort of things easy to miss until they stack like kindling. Eliza notices first. "She's testing you," she murmurs. Martha keeps her head down. "I'll give her no reason." But reason doesn't matter much when resentment already has teeth. One gray morning, Ethan rides into town for supplies. Lydia slips into the kitchen with a grin that doesn't reach her eyes. "You've made him tame," she says, circling the table. The great Ethan Rowe, letting a cook keep his books. "I only help where I can," Martha says. "Help?" Lydia laughs. "He's a fool to trust you. A fool twice if he thinks you'll stay." Martha says nothing. Silence works better than anger. Lydia leans closer. "Maybe I should keep the ledger when you're gone." She snatches the book from the shelf, flips pages, frowns. All these neat little lines. Too neat. Maybe the numbers hide something. "Then look," Martha answers. Her voice is soft but firm. Lydia does. The sums are clean. She slams the cover shut anyway and stalks out. Eliza steps from the pantry, shaking her head. She'll burn herself one day. Martha sighs. Let's hope she doesn't take the ranch with her. When Ethan returns that night, the tension is waiting for him. Lydia corners him by the barn, voice sharp. "She's cheating you. Cooking the books so you'll think she's smart." Her shout draws the men. Martha stands by the porch, ledger in hand, face pale but steady. Ethan opens the book and runs his finger down each column. Every line adds true. He closes it slow, the way a man shuts a door he's done walking through. "That's enough, Lydia." Her mouth opens, closes. She looks around for support and finds none. The men turn away. Eliza folds her arms. "Pack your things. Ethan says quietly. You'll get your pay and be gone by morning. Lydia stares at Martha, hate and humiliation twisting her face. You'll regret this, she hisses, and storms into the dark. The yard goes still. Ethan sets the ledger on the porch rail. You kept it right, he says. Martha's hands shake only after he's gone inside. Eliza lays a hand on her arm. You did more than that, dear. You kept the peace. Martha looks toward the barn lights fading against the snow. The peace feels fragile, like glass that could crack under one wrong breath. She whispers, let's hope it holds. Weeks pass, and winter slips into a brittle spring. Grass returns in thin blades, the creek runs low, and for a time the ranch feels steady again. Martha keeps to her rhythm, steady hands, quiet heart, but sometimes she catches Ethan glancing toward the road, as if waiting for something left unfinished. Rumors reach them first. A trader brings feed and mentions a woman at the Greystone Ranch, red-haired and short-tempered, asking questions about rows, fences, and barns. Eliza clicks her tongue. Some fires don't go out easy, she says. Ethan says nothing, only checks the locks that night. The evening it happens. The sky is too still. Even the horses paw at the dirt, uneasy. Martha can't sleep. She steps outside and smells smoke before she sees the glow, the hay barn burning orange against the dark. She runs, shouting for the men. Wake up! Fire by the east barn. Boots thud behind her. Ethan bursts from the house, calling orders. Buckets from the trough! Wet the blankets, keep the wind from carrying it. Martha drags wool blankets to the trough, soaks them, and throws them across the doors. The men form a chain, passing buckets fast as they can. She joins the line, arms shaking, throat raw from heat. Embers spin through the air like angry bees. The west wall flares again. She yells, more water from the creek. They run. She holds the line. When dawn breaks, the barn stands half-charred but whole. The animal's safe. Ethan leans against the fence, soot on his face. You kept it from spreading, he says. We all did, Martha answers. He glances at her blistered hands. Still, you started right. Later they find small boot prints by the fence, leading toward Greystone. Rain that afternoon washes them half away. Ethan stares at the tracks. We'll let the marshal find her, he says. Truth has long legs. 2 days later, the marshal rides through. Greystone's barns are gone too, burned from the inside. A woman was seen heading west. No one needs to ask her name. By week's end, the ranch smells of wet hay and bread again. Eliza hums while she kneads dough. The men patch the roof, cursing in good humor. Life slides back into place, stronger for the crack it survived. That night, Ethan stands on the porch with coffee cooling in his hands. Martha joins him, palms bandaged. The horizon glows gold where the sun goes down. He says quietly, You kept this place alive. She looks toward the barn. We kept it. He nods once. Between them, the air feels clean, like the sky after rain, nothing left to burn, only to rebuild. Rain falls 2 nights after the fire, soft and steady, washing soot from the roofs and worry from their sleep. The ranch smells of wet hay and smoke, but the air feels lighter. Martha wakes before dawn and steps outside barefoot. The mud is cool beneath her toes, the sky pale and open. The barn stands dark but solid. She exhales like the place itself is breathing again. Inside, she brews coffee strong and black. The dog noses the door, tail low. We made it, she whispers, half to him, half to herself. Ethan comes in from the yard, shirt damp from mist. He pauses at the doorway, seeing the kitchen neat again, the floor swept, the shelves in order, the calm she's built from ashes. She pours him a cup. They sit in the quiet, rain ticking on the tin roof. Silence now feels full, not lonely. He studies the room, then her hands wrapped in linen. "You've done more than cook," he says. "You've held this place together." She meets his eyes. "It held me first." He nods, voice rough. A ranch can lose half its fences and still live, but a home breathes only when someone keeps the fire going. I'd like to keep it, with you. Her smile starts small and stays. No vows, no promises, just truth spoken plain. Outside, the clouds part, sunlight spilling across the yard. For the first time since Red Willow, she feels safe enough to dream. She rises, pours him another cup, and the smell of coffee fills the room. The dog settles near the stove. The day begins again. Quiet, sure, rebuilt. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who believes in second chances. Subscribe for more tales of courage, kindness, and love reborn across the Old West.